What's going on, everybody? It's Justin Gazabat, and this is Living and Moving to Seattle, Washington. This is the channel that gives you all the nitty-gritty details of what it's like to live, work, eat, sleep, and play right here in the Emerald City, Seattle, Washington. And in this video, we are going to talk about one of the most desirable, most picturesque, most beautiful, amazing neighborhoods, Queen Anne. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the pros and cons of Queen Anne and lay it all out for you. So if you're thinking about making a move in the next little while, reach out to us, give us a call, shoot us a text. We love helping people make that move and chatting with you. We talk to people from all over that are making the move, from California, Hong Kong, Manhattan. People are reaching out to us all the time. Feel free to do so yourself. And if you haven't already, like, subscribe, tap the notification bell so that you know when we drop the next video. Let's get into Queen Anne. I've got some pros and cons for you. I want to do a really good job in outlining this neighborhood. It is truly one of Seattle's premier neighborhoods that I think a lot of people hear about when they think about Seattle. They think about, I want to say that a lot of the videos that you see coming through with these beautiful picturesque streets, tree-lined streets, and Victorian era houses, that's Queen Anne. And so in Queen Anne, there's really two sections. There is Queen Anne, and then there's Lower Queen Anne, which is a little bit more, has more density, some more condos. Even the old Queen Anne School has been converted to condos, and that's right there too. But if you're looking for Lower Queen Anne on a map, you're gonna see it labeled as Uptown. That's the same place. Uptown, Lower Queen Anne, same thing. Why it's distinctly, and they call it different things. I don't know if it's just a local thing to call it Lower Queen Anne or LQA. Or what it is, but that is, just something that you've got to know. You're looking at Lower Queen Anne, Uptown, that's the same place, and then generally Queen Anne. So Queen Anne is generally known just for its picturesque, tree-lined streets and old Victorian houses. And if you think about Seattle as a city growing, and I make this analogy often, but as concentric rings on a tree, as you get further away from downtown, the farther you go, every decade, every ring on that tree is newer construction homes. And so Victorian houses, late 1800s, early 1900s is the era for that house. And that's really when that neighborhood was established. So you'll see beautiful Victorian houses with all kinds of ornate siding and all kinds of beautiful architecture right there. So if you're looking for that vibe and that feel, that design, that appeal of those older style houses, similar to what you might find in like a San Francisco or something like this, Queen Anne is where those homes are. Now, granted, you're going to see some infill and some other homes in there, but generally speaking, the Victorian house is the house of Queen Anne. Pro number 2 of Queen Anne is not only do you get these great Victorian houses, but you get views. Queen Anne Hill, if you think of Seattle, Seattle is just a series of hills coming up from Puget Sound. There's Queen Anne Hill, there's Beacon Hill, there's Capitol Hill, there's Crown Hill. It's just a bunch of different neighborhoods on the top of hills. And Queen Anne is one of the best views of downtown Seattle, the skyline and all that is from Cary Park in Queen Anne. Now, some of these houses, they also get to share in these fantastic views of downtown Seattle and the Puget Sound. It's going to be one of the best locations if you're thinking about looking for a home with a view. Queen Anne is going to be one of the top 5 neighborhoods to look at. Now, pro number 3 of Queen Anne is its location. Like we talked about, those concentric rings on a tree, because Queen Anne was built in the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, its proximity to downtown Seattle, it is one of Seattle's first neighborhoods. It's right up there with First Hill and Pioneer Square. Those are the neighborhoods that were established first. And so Queen Anne is so close to downtown Seattle, make it really easy and convenient should you have an office downtown or you need to go to an event really close to Benaroya Hall and those other establishments, the ballet, all these things that people love about downtown Seattle, all really, truly right there at your fingertips. So pro number 4, just like I mentioned in number 3, you really are at the cultural center of Seattle, basically as close as you can live in a home to the downtown core and that cultural center. The only way you could be closer is if you lived in a condo or a high-rise in downtown or Belltown. But if you're looking for a home with easy access to all of the amenities, the art museum, the ballet, all the different restaurants that are downtown and all the different parks that are right there, really Queen Anne is one of the best neighborhoods for that. It is in so close proximity to that, and it has its own great parks as well. So you're never too far from getting outside and spending a little time in nature, but really that diverse culture and the ability to participate in everything that Seattle, the aquarium, everything that downtown Seattle has to offer. Queen Anne gives you that possibility as a stone's throw. Now, that's not to say that, Capitol Hill is pretty close, Belltown is pretty close, but if you're looking for that certain style of home, that Victorian home is going to be in Queen Anne, there are places in Capitol Hill, just a heads up, there are places in Capitol Hill that you can still find some of those houses too, but Queen Anne, its design and its appeal and its proximity to downtown Seattle really make it truly sought after. So one of the other things that I truly enjoy about Queen Anne is they have their own little downtown area. Lower Queen Anne has this. It has the only Dick's Drive-In, the local favorite that you can sit inside in. There's plenty of parks. We mentioned earlier Cary Park, but there's a bunch of others, and it's really just fun to get out. It's one of the neighborhoods in Seattle that still truly has a lot of greenery and tree cover and shaded streets. And now if you get out there and you're going for a long walk, prepare to walk up some hills, because that is the nature of Queen Anne, right? But it really does offer these parks and these views and this proximity to its own neighborhood. You don't have to go downtown when living in Queen Anne. Queen Anne, the neighborhood in and of itself, has a lot to offer where, if you work from home or if you don't need to travel anywhere, there is enough to do right there, right there for you. Okay, we've talked about some serious pros about Queen Anne, and I really want to show you guys the nitty gritty, and we'll get into the streets in another video, but I just want to outline this stuff for you. Let's really talk about some cons. And some of the cons is that with all that beauty, those large lots, those beautiful houses, those well-kept houses, it comes with a price tag, right? That proximity to Seattle comes with a price tag. But the number one most shocking thing that I can think of about things coming with a price tag is Taco Bell. The Taco Bell in Queen Anne costs about 3 times as much for the same meal as the Taco Bell in Ballard. So you could drive 10 minutes to Ballard and it'll be far less expensive than it would be in Queen Anne. Now, I'm not a huge Taco Bell guy. I think I've eaten there twice my whole life, but I heard this news article about that and it blew my mind. It's like there's a McDonald's in Ballard, and that McDonald's in Ballard is the most expensive McDonald's, I think, on the planet. Like, it is insane that it has, if you see an advertised price, it has nothing to, they do not participate in that. The Queen Anne Taco Bell does not participate in coupons, in pricing. It's a whole new world there. But the Trader Joe's in Queen Anne, similar prices to the Trader Joe's in Ballard. So just so you know. The other thing to think about with these beautiful, beautiful homes is if you are of the echelon of a person that believes and loves and wants to be the steward of one of those homes, and you have the capacity and the wherewithal to do so, then you already know that those homes come with certain stewardship and maintenance costs associated with them that you wouldn't see in your 1960s, even your 1960s mid-century homes, especially not your new construction townhomes, right? So when I think of the folks that fall in love with Queen Anne, that want to live there, they are able to do so, but they also have a fundamental understanding that they are the steward of that home and that history and that maintenance. And that is something to think about. Now, could you move into Queen Anne High School, the condos, and live in Queen Anne and experience all that at a different price point? Absolutely. Could you buy a new townhouse? Absolutely. In Queen Anne and do that? Absolutely. And still have access to those beautiful streets and all that it has to offer. Con number 3. This fits right in with number 2, right? The people that live in Queen Anne have to compete for parking at peak hours. Now, when the summer comes and it's beautiful, after Memorial Day, after July 5th, and it's gorgeous, and people are out there and the tourists show up and they want to see Cary Park, and there's beautiful homes on the hill. And not only are you living there, but you're in competing for parking, but now you're competing for parking with tourists. The streets are crowded, they're difficult to navigate, and now you're trying to navigate them with tourists, right? And they certainly do not know where they are, and it can just be very, very chaotic. And so something to know, I think everybody should go out there and experience and take a look, mark off 3 parks you want to go to, check out those parks and check it out, because it'll really give you, a strong sense of community and what Seattle has to offer and the views, and it makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. But make sure that you pack a Snickers bar or something. Like, don't let your blood sugar crash, eat a sandwich beforehand. Do something like that, because you don't want to be trying to navigate some cobblestone brick street that's so narrow you can barely come down and there's oncoming traffic, right? That's a little bit of the charm and a little bit of the pain of Queen Anne. We've talked about how beautiful the neighborhoods are, how amazing, the tree-lined streets, and these great, great old homes, and even these older condo buildings and older apartment buildings. The thing that, dealing with a lot of folks that are looking to make a move, a lot of folks, they love the charm and they love this about these older houses, but one thing they don't realize is that those homes in those eras, bedrooms were meant for sleeping, not for doing your homework and hanging out with friends and doing all this stuff. So a lot of people get into these homes and they're surprised at how small the rooms are. And if it's not, if it hasn't undergone a large renovation, you're going to have a separate dining, separate kitchen, separate living area, and it's going to be very, very boxed in a lot of cases, right? Whereas if somebody's opened it up, now we see open floor plans during renovations and remodels, and that opens things up. But the bedrooms typically are still fairly small unless somebody has undergone a tremendous remodel to open up and create a primary suite with an ensuite bath and this sort of thing. That just wasn't common in those homes. So you just kind of got to balance that and know that those spaces are typically smaller than what you would see in a newer construction home. Anything from the late 80s onward, we start to see bigger bedrooms and bigger living spaces. And that wraps up our pros and cons for Queen Anne. Now, all the charm comes with some, caveats, right? Pros and cons. If you're thinking about making a move, you want to know more about Queen Anne or any of the other neighborhoods, reach out to us, give us a call, shoot us a text, let us know. We're happy to jump on a call and brainstorm with you. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you know when we bring out new videos. And we'll see you in the next one. Talk to you.